video I made these two little clamps here. The part that I clamped down is way longer than the stroke of my shaper, so it's not possible to cut this part. Now indeed it is a bit pointless to show how to make these clamps and then not show if it works or not. So this time we're gonna make it work. After a little bit research, I found myself this piece that maybe I could even put in a vise, but that is of course not the point of this video. In the comments there were several people that pointed out that it should be better to clamp in the other direction, make sure that the part is pushed and clamps the same time. I didn't thought about that. So all those people who pointed that out, thank you very much. That's a good one. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this clamp off, put it the other side, then we can clamp down this part here, get this in the middle and clamp in the direction of the pushing forces of the shaper. That should do. Stop is in place, the part is in place, the clamps are well tight. I touched off with the cutting tool. We're now running on maximum stroke, and this is 60 strokes a minute. So let's give it a try. Better move away from there, you never know what's going to happen. Still there, move away, go that side. I suppose at this time it's proven that indeed the clamps, they work. And then the finish here looks a bit as if it was done in a shaper. Looks good. Could be better, but for a roughing tool, looks good. Some time ago I made this little piston. And the piston is okay, not a problem. It was a little bit a screw up because the cylinder where it should fit is 51 millimeters, and the piston I have here in my hand is 50 millimeters, so too small. I made a new one, and I almost screwed it up because I was making this groove, and then you stop at this side of the groove, and then you start thinking which way should I turn, is it this way or the other way, and you have to be really concentrated to do that. Now, to be able to concentrate, I did a few months of concentration camp, but it was not enough. So what I want to do to avoid further screw-ups when I'm grooving, I would like to make some table stops, one for this side, one for the other side. Let's put this away. Since I was playing around with this part and my eccentric clamps, I said, hey, this one, I can make table stops out of it. I have here a piece of flat thing, scrap. This is 40 millimeters, is about 1.5 inch at 4 millimeters. I took my Sharpie and I drew here a little line. I hope you can see it. If I cut out, I can put this one here behind, and here I'm gonna cut out two little lids like this, and then bolt on with this beautiful little metric 6 bolts. So this is more or less the plan. I'm gonna cut out the upside down L shape. I'm gonna leave a little bit material right here, maybe 1 millimeter or half millimeter. So this part can clamp down on this protrusion, you say? I don't know. Then of course 2 M6 bolts, and I'm gonna make them the width of this one, and it's gonna be just fine because here's a hole that I don't need. So one here, one here. I'm gonna cut it in two and then make it in one piece. And after finish, I'm gonna cut it in half, clean up this one, drill the holes, and we'll see if it works. Before I'm gonna start cutting this L shape out, first I'm gonna square this block up because I know it's out of square. So I'm gonna use one face as a reference, throw it in there and clean up the 4 sides just to be sure. Now as you can see, the cutting tool is already in an angle ready to cut this L shape. So the L shape will be this, if I put it the right way, this way. And the vise, of course, is the wrong way because we always cut in the direction of the fixed jowl. But I know if I put this vise the other way, there's a little bit out of square. Something a little bit wrong with this vise, and when I put it this way, it's perfectly straight. That's the reason why I do it wrong. A little bit a change of plan, just a little bit. I thought this block is almost square. It's not square, but almost. So maybe it's a good time to play around with my air-fin cooled shear tool. Now I put the angle at about 70 degrees. The cutting side is this side. So the tool is gonna move from this side to there. Push the chip always on the non-cut surface. You can use the tool the other way, but in theory the finish will be not so beautiful because you push the burr in the direction of the already cut surface. Now that's the theory. Play around with it, do some cuts and see what happens. I dialed in about 1/20th of a millimeter. You're gonna give it a bit milk of this. Voilà. Ignition. don't know if it shows up on video, but here is a little part not as shiny as the rest. Until here there was enough cutting fluid on it, cutting oil, and here this about 5 mm I ran out, and then I put again. So the cutting oil is really important. Now we see that we did not clean up the whole surface here, so we're gonna cut it again. And the ships we make, these long and curly things, that's what you're looking for. Of course we dial in very, very light. We dial in about 1/20th of a millimeter. Working on a shaper is very labor intensive. I finished cleaning up the 4 sides, and now I've seen that there's a little bit a problem with my vise or with the shaper, I don't know, because when you square up a block it's not completely square, so I don't know what's happening, but I will figure it out later. First I will finish this little project and then we will see what's happening. I think my old tap shear tool did a good job. This is almost like a grind finish. In mild steel it's not easy to have a nice finish. On this surface the finish is not that good because there was a little bit of mild scale left, and when the shear tool cuts in the scale like this one, of course it's getting dull quickly and you can hear the difference. A shear tool, when it cuts well, it makes a sound like a pencil line that you draw on a paper. Of course you hear nothing because I don't draw a line and there's no paper, but you got a point. Take a piece of paper and a ruler and you draw a line. That's the sound the shear tool makes. From the moment it makes a different or more noisy sound, doesn't cut anymore. Now I'm ready to cut out this shoulder here. To make these cuts I only use the dials. After all, these dials, they're made for it. We're running at 60 strokes a minute. Gives us a cutting speed of about 10 meters a minute, which is not enough, but to make this shoulder cutouts it's always easier to go slowly. I wanted to start the finishing pass, but as you can see the tool bit leaves a terrible finish, so there must be something wrong, probably some corner broke or something. So I'm gonna change it and then we will attack the final pass. Normally I stop cutting to move the camera to have another angle and then restart cutting. But this time I'm not gonna do that because I know every time I stop cutting and restart, there's somewhere a line. I don't like lines in my finished parts. The shoulder is finished, and what I think is a little bit bizarre is the finish. This part here, this surface, is more than perfect finish. So I started here, cut the shoulder, cut up, finish is decent, is not perfect, and then again this surface is not good at all. But I did cut it in one go, start here, go up, continue here. So why is there different quality of finishes in the same surface? That's something I do not understand. Which means I need more flight hours with inserts. Now, to make this part I had to change inserts a few times because the point broke, I think 3 times. So I don't know what's happening. I have to play a bit more around. So to make this thing, it took me 3 inserts and a half a t-shirt. Okay, let's try to turn this ugly thing into something useful. The next challenge is now to transfer these holes, this part, because of course they don't hold on it. Maybe I can put a shim between and then put a clamp or whatever. I don't know. I will find a way. I drilled and tapped the 2 holes, and now I'm gonna put a shim in the recess if shim wants to. Come on, shim, what's happening to you? Voila. I'm gonna tie this one. Tie this one, see if they're aligned. Now in theory, the center here should be the right spot, right? Clean out with some air that comes from the neighbors. The trick seems to work. Now all that's left to do is cut this thing in half and finish these 4 surfaces. And this is what I had in mind. I think they came out not bad at all. Let's give it a try. Doesn't fall off, so I think that's already a good start. Oh yes, you feel immediately it stops nice and thick, no spongy feeling at all, nothing. This is perfect. Let's try the other one. Let's put a 0 just to try. I go to 0, perfectly 0. Test. Perfectly 0. Perfectly 0 again. Yes. I think this is a nice little project to make in the shaper. It's easy to do. There's no specific dimensions to make, only the thickness of the way here, that's all. And imagine I have to do some fine adjustment to change the position of this block. I can always use one of these.